the pressure is on now if they sign Isak, Terry.
In the league, the pressure is always on Arsenal.
Who's the clear favorites to win the league next season?
That's not the point, because I already said Liverpool are the clear favorites.
The pressure is on the clear favorites. You're the Usain Bolt. You are the Usain Bolt.
You ask me who's favorite, I'll tell you Liverpool. You ask me who the pressure is on, I'll tell you Arsenal. But there are reasons for it.
Yeah, I think there is a difference here. I think the expectations on Liverpool, I think the pressure is more on Arsenal because of a lack of winning. So, and I also then think it depends. So, for instance, if that's the point I was making earlier on. The league race isn't over, but I don't see this not working for Liverpool. I think they're going to be a brilliant team. What Arsenal have got to do and what City have got to do is just be better. And I don't mean you can sometimes be better by a team getting worse. So and an improvement. So Man United might jump up a few of the league places we potentially jump up this year, maybe a little bit by default because 2 or 3 teams go backwards. So it doesn't mean you're better than them, but there's an element of them slowing down. So yes, if it goes horribly wrong for Liverpool, it doesn't work. They get bad injuries, maybe. But I think in an all squares environment, it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. City, they're under pressure because there's pressure on everybody. But they've won so much in the last decade that if they went another year without winning the league, I don't think their fans are some will do it for attention on social media, but I don't think there'll be this general meltdown. If Liverpool don't retain their title, but it's close, there'll be a frustration, but there'll be we know we'll be in it again next year. We've won it recently. Let's do it. Yeah. Where if Arsenal don't win it, I almost think with Arsenal, they could get 95, 96, 97 points. And they would still be fuming at the end of the season if they don't pick up that trophy. So I do think there's more pressure on Arsenal, but there is a bigger expectation on Liverpool because they're already the best team and have added quality. And I don't think they should be relieved of that expectation as opposed to... And I do think there's a difference between expectation and pressure based on what you've won in recent times as well. What it is good to see is, there's no pussies in a tree. There's no underdog stories or nothing along those lines. And that is good to see. Like I'm glad to see that.
What can Arsenal do, Terry, to actually be better than Liverpool?
Score more goals than they did last year.
Sack Arteta.
So, well, I mean, they could sack Arteta, but we know he isn't going right now. But right now, go back to last season, and I think they dropped 20 points from winning positions in the league. And in most of those games, they were the better team. So with Zubimendi for more control, you would imagine Saka is going to stay fit this season. Gyökeres coming in, back up for Saka and Madueke, probably Eze coming a little bit later in the window. How do they do it? Well, they make sure those 10 games they were leading in become wins. And they try and convert a couple of their defeats into wins. And you're talking about they've got barely. And this is why this title race is going to be amazing. Because I think you might not be able to afford to lose or draw more than 3 in each category. I think if you lose more than 3 and or draw more than 3, or a variation of that amount of points, what's that? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that's 14 points. I don't think you can afford to drop more than 14, 15 points this year in the league to win it. So
I think
this year, that's how they do it.
I'll tell you why I said what I said. Let's say, very plausible scenario. Man United players very excited, very happy for the season to start. They want to do things the right way. Man United are 1-0 up against Arsenal at halftime. Saka, Saliba, Rice, all these players have already heard Arteta's halftime speech 100 million times. I think they need a fresh voice. I think they need fresh ideas. I think they need fresh execution. Also, I'll tell you the reason why there is no excuses for Arsenal. I'm being genuine here. If Liverpool do sign Isak, objectively speaking, the likeliness of us signing Rodrigo is a lot lower now. Okay? Rodrigo comes out and says he wants to leave Real Madrid. Arsenal can sign Rodrigo. What's stopping them? Rodrigo to Arsenal has just as much impact as Isak to Liverpool, just as much impact as Wirtz to Liverpool, because Rodrigo is one of the elite players in the world who have won everything at Real Madrid. He's shown the capability on an individual level as well. He's shown the capability of being clutch. Nothing is stopping Arsenal from going and buying Rodrigo. Actually, Arsenal can spend a lot of money too. So that's the thing. And if your logic is money, you're going to pay 60 million for him. Rodrigo's available for 80. That's 20 million more. And a matter of fact, you paid 50 million for Noni Madueke. You could use some of that money to go buy Rodrigo. So it's not my fault that Arsenal decided to go spend 50 million on Noni Madueke, while Liverpool spent that same 60 million, let's say, on Kerkez and Frimpong, as an example. You know, so you should be smarter with your money. You should make better transfers. That's why when the likes of myself and Mo criticize the Madueke signing, as an example, we have a right to do it, because we understand that Arsenal not signing Madueke but signing Rodrigo is 100 times better than Arsenal just signing Madueke and Eze. That's the thing for me. So I really like Eze. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think it's exactly what Arsenal need now with Jokers up top. But Eze doesn't have that fear factor about him like a Rodrigo would do. You know, so yeah, I think Arsenal have no excuses. And me and Terry agreed on this. Favorites to win the league is Liverpool. 100%. Yes, see, 199 million. Favorite to win the league is Liverpool, 100%. We're not going to disagree on that whatsoever. But the pressure is on Arsenal due to lack of success, Mo. Let's say 2 years ago, remember when they were 8 points ahead? 8 points ahead, and they lost the league, but then they won the Europa. 2 years ago, they won the league title. So let's say 2 years ago, remember the year where they finished 2 points behind City, when they finished on 89 points and City 91 points? That season I'm talking about, when Ortega saved the Son 1-on-1. That's the year I'm referring to. So that year, had Arsenal won the league that year, no one would care about Arteta winning the league with Liverpool having this type of summer, because he's shown you the ability to do it. But then you could go like, Liverpool are having an unbelievable summer, we're going to give Arteta a bye. The reason why Arteta is not going to get a bye and Arsenal not going to get a bye is because they've had no success for 5 years. And it's the reality. This is the reality of football. This is the reality of the sport, Mo. If Liverpool this year don't win the league, but we win the Champions League and the FA Cup, we can win the league the year out.
Even if the Champions League only.
Yeah, even Champions League only. Yeah, so we can win the league the year after. No one's going to go like, oh my God, sack Slot. No, this is great. No one will say this. But with Arteta, I think there will be people by game week 3, by game week 2, by game week 1 who will already just be like, I'm done with this. Honestly, because the pressure is completely over the top.
I think that Madueke signing is spot on. Like that money that's spent on Madueke, if the reports are correct, that Arsenal cannot spend more money, well, you spend that money on Madueke. It's not like nobody forced your hand to spend that money on Madueke. You could have gotten the guy with a loan with an obligation to buy next season. There is, like, I get it. Rodrigo now is reported to go for 90 million euros. That is like 70-something million pounds. That's 20 million pounds more. Arsenal could have signed Rodrigo instead of Madueke. That was what you could have done, and they didn't do it. As for Arsenal as a club, the pressure is on Arteta. I agree. As Arsenal Football Club, they must win. They haven't won for 20 years. Since 2004, it will be like 22 years if they don't win next season. But in the current moment, I still think that Arsenal cannot do anything to be better than Liverpool if Liverpool sign Isak, to be honest. They can sign Eze and Rodrigo, and I still think that Liverpool will be favorites. The difference is not going to be as much. But now, Arsenal reportedly are not going to sign both unless they offload one of the players of Martinelli and Trossard, which is maybe...
So we were right to criticize Madueke, me and you.
Everyone in the world criticized Madueke's signing. Nobody.
Yeah.
If that signing is not hindering you from completing your team, it's a good signing. But if that signing is the reason why you don't sign other players, if you are now negotiating Eze because you spent money on Madueke early in the window and you cannot get Eze over the line, that is your fault. That is nobody's fault. That is Arteta and Berta's
And if
fault.
your logic is depth, Bakayoko went to Leipzig for 20 million. There you go. Depth problem solved.
I'm going to give you an example about Man United. Man United have Bruno Fernandes as a 10. Amad Diallo that can play wing back and a 10. They signed Cunha. If people are going to criticize Man United for signing Mbeumo because they soon sign a striker, that is correct. But Man United, what they did is they signed Mbeumo, and now they're going to sign a striker as well.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Mbeumo signing looked great.
Fact.
So the Mbeumo signing it's an extra addition, and it's not hindering you from getting your main top, because everyone knows that Man United needed a number 9. Now the reports are saying they are getting a number 9, and the Mbeumo, everyone that said, oh, why are we paying more for Mbeumo? Okay, it's not hindering your transfer window. It's not. You're basically getting your target over the line. So at the current moment, that Madueke deal might hinder Arsenal, and that is Arsenal's fault. And all the Arsenal fans that say, but we don't need the wingers. No, you don't.
But I'm not disagreeing with the view on Madueke because I stand on what I've said. But to play devil's advocate, I don't think Arsenal view it as getting in the way. So I think they've made a conscious decision to not this is still what happens with the Rodrigo situation. It looks like they're getting a few sales in place now. There's the Reece Nelson is wanted by Fulham, and they also want Zinchenko. It's just been announced now 3 different Premier League teams want Lokonga, and I'm not surprised that he's staying in the UK, Lokonga, because random fact, a good friend of mine I used to work with in the bank recently went to his wedding, and he married a girl that's from England. So I'm not surprised that doesn't shock me that he wants to stay in the UK. But that's another deal. There's obviously the Trossard links. So there is this train of thought that with 3 or 4 sales, Eze can happen and maybe one more, but it remains to be seen.